Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Britton's Hangout Hour, episode 60. I'm here today with Caleb from Calebrity. Is that how it's pronounced? Or
It's celebrity with an A,
oh,
so
okay.
it's very stupid.
Noted booktuber. Um, class of 2023, I think.
Yep.
Fellow class 2023. Um, Here today. Yeah, I'm making all the rounds with the 2023 folk. How you
Yeah,
doing
I know
today?
you've been working on it. I actually am going to cancel this very briefly. I refuse to be on until I'm episode 69 because I'm a child.
But how are you doing this? Evening. Where you're at?
Oh,
I don't know. Where it's at? I don't know where it's at.
surviving, thriving, the usual, reading when I can.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. It was it's kind of funny. We were I think I met you on Colin's. He was on a stream.
We're on a live stream together.
Yeah, and we hit it off. I'm all like, we gotta talk at some point. So here we are.
Yeah, I think the thing that hit it off was Black Leopard Red Wolf.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what do you do on your BookTube channel for those who might not know? Or
I do a lot of different things. I'm still trying to find my uh niche
your
within the
groove?
booktube community. Yeah, find my groove. I went through a phase where I was just kind of doing what everyone else did. I did the tags, I did the monthly wrap ups,
Mm.
and I hated doing the wrap ups. Um, because I wanted to do something a bit more than, well, here's what I read this month, and here's what I'm going to try and read next month. Mostly
Mm.
because, especially if I did like a TBR video, I was like, here's my plan. I never did it. I read like maybe one of the 5 books I listed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I didn't like chronicling this record of me being a liar. So I've done a bit more. I do reviews sometimes. I just released a video that is like a deep analysis of chapter 1 of Jade City. And that's more along the lines of what I want to do. I want to do stuff because I'm a writer.
Mm.
So I do more content focused on writing or like writing analysis.
Mm.
And I want to do like more like deeper text analysis as opposed to like my broad spoiler free thoughts on things.
Mm. I hear you. I hear you. Trying to find your channel. Damn it! I can't. The filters, upload date. Can you do that? No, bastards. That's what
Yeah, because
Dad
if you
likes
type
to
in
say.
you type in celebrity and then it'll say, "Are you sure you didn't mean celebrity?"
Uh huh.
Here's
Yeah.
everything about Kim Kardashian this week.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just Yeah. So you like a lot of fantasy. I see.
I read a lot of fantasy at the moment. It's funny because until like 2020, I had read maybe one fantasy series to completion.
So what got you in the mood for fantasy then?
Probably when I discovered BookTube.
Mm.
So prior to that, I read a lot of mysteries, I read a lot of thrillers, read a
Mm.
lot of horror.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I was coming off a manga phase. Um, but in 2020, we were all locked down. We were all at home. I discovered Daniel Green on BookTube, and I was like, I've been wanting to do because I've always been a fan of fantasy and other mediums. I just never read it, so Daniel Green is what inspired me to start reading fantasy. So and here we are today, and I don't really watch Daniel Green anymore.
It's funny you say that. I also got started by watching. Well, I was watching some other people. I don't know if you ever watched Thomas from SFF 180, but he
Mm-hmm.
was one of my first. Like, hey, maybe I should do this. And then I saw Daniel Green. I'm like, oh, that's cool because he's a younger guy like me. I mean, no shade to Thomas, of course. I'm actually want to get him on the show at some point, but oh well, it hasn't happened yet. Um,
We'll get you.
we'll get you. We'll get you.
We'll get you, Tom.
Um, but yeah, I was always making excuses for a while. I was kind of like, oh man, I'm not really the most well spoken individual, and then I saw Brian Lee Durfee, and Brian Lee Durfee's sitting there with his kind of he's bald, he's got that goatee, he's just sitting there with his little iPhone, just
He's got that one angle, the
yeah, it's
only
just
angle.
just just bullshitting for like 20 minutes about a book. I'm like, you know what? I have no excuses. I have to do this. If he
Yeah,
can do that and people are actually watching it and are like, that's entertaining. Damn it, what's my excuse? I gotta do this. I gotta get on this. So there you
absolutely.
go. So there you go. To this very day.
Yeah, and I think because I'm the same way. Like I have a lot of anxiety about how I articulate because I always think I sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
man. It's not the it's something, man. It's something.
yeah, so I just powering through that, and then I also have a slightly different taste than some of the booktube community too, because I like watching my friends like Colin and like I like watching their wrap up videos. I really don't like watching people talk for 40 minutes about the books they read, not unless they have like a very specific point they're trying to make.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
I do it because I like to keep up with stuff I read. It's just it's something for me. And hey, if people
mhm.
like it, and so be it. Even though I'm just enough of an attention whore, I get kind of upset when people don't watch my videos.
I'm the same way. I'm
Just
so salty about
I
stuff.
know, right? It's like
Everyone else is like, yeah, we're just doing this for fun. I'm like, no, I have to be famous.
well, I don't know if it's that, but it's like I like people engaging with the content, and when people are
Mhm.
not engaging with the content, it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. You know.
No, I totally get that.
It's I mean, though I've self deprecation's a thing. If you're
uh,
aware of your shortcomings, then nobody will be able to use it against you.
exactly.
Paraphrasing the late philosopher Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
But yeah, no. Jade City's one of those books I wanted to try for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to it because one, there's a bunch of other books I want to read. Two, I'm really lazy.
legitimate.
Though my friend Josh actually interviewed Fonda Lee several years back. I think when she first put out uh, well, before we started hanging out anyway. Before I think it's when she put out Jade City for the first time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I always thought that was neat, so I can flex that to my friends.
I have a friend who talked to Fonda Lee, and they're like,
So
"Who's that?"
yeah, Josh Pantaloresco, just Josh, and he's actually been on the show a couple times. But yeah, no, he's good people. But um, yeah, I mean, it sounds, I'm also the same way. I try to be more unique than, I mean, I do like The First Law and Gentlemen Bastards. I mean, there are some popular books that where you're like, you know what? I can see why that's popular because I'm enjoying this as well. But,
Hmm.
I try. I mean,
I'm
I try not to be a contrarian, but I do try to
yeah,
keep things a little different. So maybe if people are feeling a little isolated, they'll have a guy you can. I'll be like that guy, be like, hey, come over here.
for
I'll show you
sure.
some shit.
Yeah, and like that's my struggle. Is like because it's not that I'm not trying to drag anybody who does content like this, but like I personally don't enjoy like the broad overviews. I want like really meaty, in depth stuff. Um, I'm in the very early stages of doing a video about Dune.
Oh,
Um,
hmm?
because my inspiration for it is outside of BookTube. I don't know if you watch video game YouTube at all. But there's a reviewer.
Used to a long. I mean, I used to actually be a video game YouTuber a long time ago. I mean, I don't share that because oh my god, that content is so bad. But
It's okay. I was a Let's Player too, so
but I mean, I still have a lot of fond memories of that time. But that time is over.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but there's a reviewer's the channel's called Mandalore Gaming. He does really in-depth reviews of like older games, sometimes newer games, but mostly old, weird, niche stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's kind of my framework and my inspiration for how I'm going to do this Dune review because I wanted to do something that was like a little snarky, a little tongue in cheek, but I didn't want to drag a new or like a up and coming author in their career.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll focus on something that was like pretty established, something that like me and my sub 100 subscriber count isn't going to tarnish too badly, and just have fun with it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Though I'll admit I'm not the biggest fan of Dune. Though I was assigned by my workplace to go cover it for this week, so that should be fun. I did see the first part.
Yeah, I watched the first part. I read the first half of Dune. I read up to where I knew the movie was like loosely going to end, and that was it. I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And with the promise that as soon as I saw the movie, I would read the other half, and then never did it. So now the second movie's out, and I'm like, well, God, I gotta do a video about Dune. So
Yeah, yeah. Not
I
a not the
I
hugest fan of that book, but you know, I can understand the appeal.
yeah, I was torn on it. So
I'm surprised a lot of druggies haven't taken to it. I mean, it's a very trippy book.
it is very trippy. I think the thing that surprised me about, because I wouldn't really even say I liked the half I read, but I was surprised by how readable it was. Um,
Yeah,
because at least in my interpretation of like, hey, it was like the real like foundation of space opera released in 1956. In my mind, I'm like, that book is gonna read terribly. But then I went to read it and I was like, no, it actually flows pretty well.
yeah. It's weird. I think thematically it's pretty nice. I mean, you know, not to I don't mean to use too big words or well, I mean you seem like a smart guy, but you know, I don't mean to get
Mm-hmm.
too esoteric here.
No, no, get
God, I
esoteric.
sound like an asshole right now.
Oh, I like the deep stuff.
But I think thematically Dune is quite good. It's just the story is not well, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just you know, I don't really like the voice of the novel. There's not a lot of tension. It kind of feels
I definitely see that in what I've
yeah,
read. Because
yeah.
like
And
especially that
also,
first.
I think Baron Harkonnen's one of the goofiest fucking villains I've ever seen in my life. I mean, my god, this dude, he's a fat, disgusting, pederast individual who's
um,
always like, I'm evil, you know, some shit
mhm.
like that. I'm like, are you serious right now? Kidding
And
me?
I definitely feel you, especially in like that first quarter of the
At
book,
least
because like
at
I
least Ian
struggle.
McDermott was having a good time when he played Palpatine. Like at least he made it like watchable. You know, it could have easily been bad, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Um, I can definitely see it, and especially in that first quarter of the book, because that's where I really struggled. I was like, wow, there's literally nothing happening. Um, I thought the movie was quite good.
Yes, it was solid. You know, I mean, visually it
It
was, you know, I was like, oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah. Well, I really like Denis Villeneuve as a director.
uh huh,
I can't think of a movie he's made that I didn't like. Um,
yeah. I hear you, I hear you.
even the movie I went to when I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this movie, but I like this director. I was blown away by it, and that was Arrival. So,
Yeah, I
um,
know what you mean. It's definitely a I think Villeneuve is one of the best directors that we've come across in this century.
yeah,
Though still my favorite of his movies is Prisoners.
100%. I
Like
fucking
like a
love
lot of people are
Prisoners,
like, "Yo, what
dude.
about Blade Runner 2049?" I'm like, "Great film." And don't get me
Love
wrong,
it.
Arrival's a good film too. Sicario's great, but I don't know, there's something about Prisoners and it's
Uh,
more like focus this more smaller focus that I really like. I really it's like dark atmosphere that I really dig.
I 100% agree. I fucking love Prisoners, Britain. Um,
Also, Hugh Jackman just being completely unhinged in that film is freaking
hmm
glorious. I love it.
Incredible, incredible. All right, I have a funny story about it as well.
Oh
So,
no.
story time with Calebrity. Um,
Did you run into Hugh Jackman?
no, not anything that cool.
Oh, damn it.
uh, this this is just a story where I'm gonna mildly disparage my wife
Oh. Oh no.
because we we were big movie people when we first got married.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, over time, I've become less interested in movies, but I was really into movies when we were married. But we had a polar opposite taste in them.
Really?
Yeah, she liked, oddly enough, she liked bro comedies.
Oh,
Um,
really? Is she like super bad and
Super bad, really obsessed with the American Pie movies.
oh god,
So
I'd take super bad over those. Like super bad's actually good.
like
Like,
she has a good taste, but she prefers comedy. She prefers like goofier, dumb. I don't have to think about this stuff.
mm.
And then she said my taste in movies is depressing. Uh, so anyways, I didn't get to see it in theaters, so I rented this movie. And I'm watching it at our house, and she's watching it with me, and she's kind of into it, but she's like mostly playing Candy Crush on her phone. And then it's that final scene where Jake Gyllenhaal is at the house, and like he
Uh-huh.
kind of like turns in the air, and like you're supposed to hear like the whistle very faintly in the background.
Uh-huh.
She just turns to me, and during this scene, just starts talking about the most random thing. I don't remember what it was because the only thing she remembered is looking up and stopping because I'm looking at her like,
No.
because I'm trying to enjoy this very quiet, still moment of this movie,
I'd be like,
and she
bitch, I'm
just
trying to watch
start,
this movie. It's like,
and she just starts talking.
wait till it's over. Wait till the credits.
But I'm not fun to watch movies with because I'm like I want everyone to be quiet and I'm gonna watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't watch like Stalker with the homies, you know. Like it's not one you put on with the bros. You know, watch like yeah, like every time I've gone to a friend's house to go watch movies, we always just get distracted and do other things. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my god. Um, yeah, though. I mean, my friend and I did see The Witch a few years ago, and I remember he liked it. And then recently he told me he didn't like it. I'm like, I remember that you liked it, but okay, well, whatever
The
you
Witch
say.
is
I'm not gonna
the,
argue the point.
the Witch is the only horror movie I've seen in theaters that like genuinely unsettled me.
Yeah, it was really creepy. I think is
It
what's
there's something about that movie, and it's just like maybe it's just the fact that I saw it in a movie theater, and like 90% of that movie is just fucking silence, and that unsettled me just because I'm in a big movie theater. There's no noise.
yeah. Anya Taylor Joy's in it. And you're like, oh, okay. And also the
And
crazy
then
lady from Game of Thrones
Game of
is in
Thrones,
it,
yeah,
and Ralph Fiennes's the dad. You're like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was.
I like The Witch a lot. Have you seen The Lighthouse?
Oh my god, yeah,
Oh,
incredible film.
oh, I love that movie so much.
I remember I remember I always do this with my friend on New Year's, to cheer him up. Or well, I mean he was actually not really feeling great this last one. So like I always joke because we have crab during my New Year's gatherings.
Hmm.
So I'll send him like pictures of it, and I'll just ask him, "Are you fond of me, lobster?" From that movie.
Fond of me lobster.
He's
It's
like,
okay.
"You're fond of me, lobster." It's great shit.
It's okay. My wife and I go around because like she watched it with me. We go around. We just go, "You farts!
Yeah.
You smell like shit because you are shit."
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my
I bet your
god.
wife's like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, she's used to it. Oh yeah,
Though I
we
don't
love
think
that.
there's, I mean, I would probably be like, look, you interrupted me while watching this amazing, glorious film that is Prisoners. Okay, I got some leeway here. I'm like, come on. But no, I like, I do like a lot of movies. I was actually talking with AR Witham a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And basically most of the time we were just talking about movies. I didn't even ask him about The
Yeah.
Legend of Blackjack all that much. I was set. I'm like, we're gonna talk about Legend of Blackjack and why you wrote that book, and basically try to pitch me on it. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I worked with Quentin Tarantino." I'm like, "Oh, let's talk about that." And it just went from there.
Yeah.
It just went from there. Yeah, like an hour in, I'm like, dude, we haven't even talked about your book yet. No, he's a great dude though. Um, But yeah, you say you like a lot of like mystery, thriller, horror stuff before you were on the fantasy train. So like, did you read
Hmm.
you read like noir stuff or like James Patterson? Hopefully not, but I
I,
mean, I won't diss on you if you have read James Patterson
I didn't really do James
because
Patterson.
I'm a nice guy.
So high school through college years, that was my big literary era. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I was like too good for everything that came out before 1980.
Oh yeah.
So or after 1980, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A big Steinbeck guy, big Hemingway guy, that douchebag. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't. He wasn't a. Yeah. Hemingway was a character.
oh, I mean, yes, Hemingway was a douchebag, but I was saying I was that douchebag.
Oh. Okay.
I was the douchebag who was like, "You didn't read The Sound and the Fury when you were 17."
Oh, dude, I still haven't read The Sound of the
I
Fury.
and this is why I'm a douchebag because I only tried to do it. So,
Wow.
um,
Wow. That's oh man, that's something else. I mean,
so
well,
yeah. So then I went through my college era, and for most people, like you go to college, you stop reading. I was too focused on drinking. Um, and I
hasn't
was in
been a
my
lot of
theater.
drinking in my college. It's been kind of underwhelming. I thought there'd be like parties and stuff. Like maybe it's Oklahoma. I gotta tell you, it's probably
It's
because I'm in
Oklahoma. It
Oklahoma.
doesn't get too crazy out there. um, but yeah, I mean, and I was in my theater era, so I did a lot. I read a lot of plays, unfortunately. Um,
Unfortunately, like you don't like Shakespeare. What's wrong with you?
oh my god, I've come to appreciate Shakespeare after I had to study him for 2 years. I was
Uh
like,
huh.
okay, I don't hate this. Would never actively read it. Um,
Yeah, it's I remember there were some people who were ranting about this the other day, and I agree with it that Shakespeare should be watched. He's not meant to be read.
hmm Mostly because like the scripts were only written for prosperity's sake anyway. Most of them were improv on stage. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, oh god, don't get me started on Shakespeare.
What you do like Miller? You do like Arthur
Yeah,
Miller.
we did Miller.
You did O'Neill.
Sure
You did
did.
Chekhov.
I missed Chekhov, and thank God, because everything I've read about Chekhov I did not like.
Oh,
But I do not like the naturalist era of theater
oh, okay.
by and large. So,
So you don't like depressing dramas about real life.
oh, I love depressing dramas. I don't want it to be realistic. Uh, when I go to the theater, I'm all about that drama and the elevated sense of existence. If it looks like a house, I am not interested. Period.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I remember I watched a play a few years ago at my because I went to a community college before I went to the college I'm at now, and it was this very absurdist play. And it basically went off the rails pretty quickly. I think that was what it was meant to do because, well, did you ever do any theater of the absurd? Because,
A little. I mainly just dabbled in violence. I was really, me and my professor were really into stage violence, so I did a lot of fight choreography. Uh, I learned about a lot about making fake blood. I was the blood guy at theater.
oh no, I did a little theater though. Sadly, I was pretty I was pretty disappointed with the lackluster stuff we got. Well, there was one I liked, but the scene I did, I was paired up with this girl who I let's just say I didn't like her very much. Um, and we did Annie the musical. I played the
Okay.
butler. I think I was the only guy who practiced for the butler, so that worked out for me. Um, it's interesting because I was in choir and I was also in theater for a few years, and let me tell you, never a dull day in either of those classes. And I actually kind of regret that I didn't continue with theater. But let me tell you, the freaking people in those classes, oh man.
Yeah. No.
You will meet some
Theater people.
you want to know about drama queens? You want to know about like you will meet the dregs of humanity in choir. I'm telling you right now.
It is 100% true. Theater people are why I don't do theater anymore.
No,
Because
the theater people I hung out with, they were pretty cool, but like the choir kids, oh my god, they were oh
well,
oh
okay, there's two types of theater people. Um,
I stroked out.
a- and some of them cross over with choir people. I feel
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because you have like the hood rat Marxist theater people. Those are the cool people I hung out with. Then and then there's
I didn't mean
musical
it.
theater people. They are divided into those camps, and the musical theater people are obnoxious, and I could not
Oh.
stand being around them.
Yeah, no, it's something, man. It's the same, it's like there were the kids who were just like me. I was in this group. I was like one of the guys who was just doing it for fun, like which kind of became more difficult when I got into they made me do more competitions and stuff, and I didn't want to fucking do any of the competitions. I was like, I'll just do my bit and get the fuck out of here. Because I don't want to. I'm a punch clock guy. Like I go in,
Mm-hmm.
I do my shit, and I get out. I don't. I'm not.
I'm not signing for extra work.
Yeah, exactly. And my parents always got after me for doing that. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm doing it. Like, I did what I wanted to do. Okay, like it's fine. But and then there's the people who are like trying to do it for a career, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, there's this guy. His name's you know what? I'm not gonna name him for privacy's sake, because there were some of those types who were like kind of like really serious about it. They were actually pretty cool, but there was a lot of them who were just like I wanted to punch them. You know. Now I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
violent person usually, but man, it was frustrating. Sadly, no hippie Marxists in my well, there probably were, but I wasn't associating with them.
Yeah, see, that's the secret. If you're in the arts at all, if you find the Marxists, most of the time those are the cool people. I'm not gonna say all the time, but um, yeah, I probably had a reputation in school as being a negative person, even like a very critical
Oh
person.
no.
Uh, I'm gonna mildly defend myself because I took the work very seriously. I try not to take myself too seriously. But I took what I did very seriously, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like there were a lot of people who very much took themselves seriously and didn't take the work seriously. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense at all.
I knew, I probably wouldn't have, or well, I don't know how we would have gotten along if we went to the same high school, but you probably would have been one of the guys that been like, this fucking guy, who the fuck do you think he is? He's fucking Steven Sondheim? I don't think so. I don't fucking
Probably.
think so.
I was an arrogant douchebag. Uh, and I was not afraid to tell people that I didn't like the work they were doing.
Oh dear. Come on
Um,
now.
but listen, I'm still gonna defend myself. You have to understand, these are theater people we're talking about. These people need to be knocked down a little bit.
You know what? That's fair. You know what? Yeah. I dealt a lot with interesting personnel. There's some of them who've gone on to like fucking California, you know. But let me
Hmm.
tell you, you will meet some just oh, you'll meet some interesting people in choir. I'll put it that way.
Hmm.
I'm sure since you were in theater, you've had similar experiences.
Oh, very similar experiences. Um, I always felt
Got like the Edward Norton types who are like super, like oh god,
yeah. I feel like where I really struggle is because I didn't really come from a theater or an arts background. Like my parents are blue collar. Um, so I have no idea how I even got interested in the arts or reading or anything like that. Um, so going into theater and going to like a collegiate program for theater, I very much felt like an outsider because everyone else, like their parents were artists or they were rich and they liked the arts, so their children became artists. Um, and I felt very frustrated because I felt like it was very insular, and I felt like a lot of the plays, like the work that we did, more appealed to the people doing it than any kind of like conceivable audience.
mm-hmm.
Um, a good example of that, I cannot remember the playwright's name for the life of me. Have you heard the play The Actor's Nightmare?
I don't think I have. No, I mean, I'll
God,
admit,
what is his name?
as far as my theater kind of background goes, I know Shakespeare. I know Arthur Miller, and I know Eugene O'Neill. I haven't even read any in Eugene O'Neill. I just know who he is.
You just know. I mean, yeah, that's all you
Also,
need.
there's the It's Always Sunny episode, The Nightman Cometh, which is a play on one of his stories.
I love that. I love that episode. Um, but The Actor's Nightmare is a play about a guy waking up and he's in a play where he doesn't know any of the lines. And that play is only funny if you understand theater.
Oh,
It's only funny to theater people.
I bet it. I bet if you played that in front of just dumbass, they would just be like, "What the hell is this?" You know.
And that's the thing, is we did. Um, we had, not to toot my own horn, not trying to be arrogant, but we did these student shows, right? Where like they were student directed. I had my show I directed. Then there was again, the person won't be named, but they directed The Actor's Nightmare, a play I actively already hated at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it up. It's supposed to be a comedy. All 6 runs of that show, nobody laughed in the audience the whole time.
Basically, you went full Huey in the Christmas episode of the
Mm-hmm.
Boondocks. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
again,
I was like,
I don't know if
they
you've ever
did.
seen that. Sometimes I just pull like
No,
random
I love it.
references out of
Yeah.
the hat.
No, I love it. We're on the same wavelength. But no one laughed because like they put in these pauses for like basically breath for the people to laugh, and no one laughed. So the play was stilted and awkward. And of course it was, because no one fucking gets it. Especially considering like it was pop
Unless
culture
you're like that
references.
one theater guy in the back who's just fucking howling in the
Exactly.
background.
I'm like, and it's full of pop culture references from the 50s.
Oh my
Of
god.
course, no one fucking gets what this play is about. I hated it. And then the director, who I had a rocky relationship with anyway, asked me how I felt about it. And I told him.
Well, so like you went like full bars, like this fucking sucks.
I didn't rip into him like that badly. I said that I don't like the play anyway, and this rendition didn't convince me otherwise.
Fair enough. I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like um, no, what's the word? Um, oh, did you ever see that Charlie Kaufman? I mean, I haven't seen it. Adaptation. It kind of reminds me of Adaptation.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, well, it's about Charlie Kaufman, screenwriter, and his twin brother, who might also be his muse, but we don't know. I mean, I haven't seen this film, but apparently what it sounds like is very similar. It's kind of very much in the joke about being a writer, and only this amount of people are probably gonna get it.
Yeah. And that's a pet peeve of mine in like any medium. I hate movies about film. I hate plays about theater. I hate books about writing.
Also, have you read like the Wonder Boys from Michael Chabon?
I have not.
Oh, I was about to say you probably wouldn't like that. Apparently it's about a right. It's his oh, what's the word? It's his straight white guy banging a bunch of women in angsting book, as I like to call it. His
Okay.
Philip Roth book, I guess. Which is why I'm kind of hesitant to read it, because I'm like, I don't know, I didn't really like Philip Roth. Oh god. Oh. Oh.
um,
I mean, look,
and
if
like,
I want to read a book about banging women, I could read a fucking Charles Bukowski book,
yeah.
or James Elroy or something. I don't know. I don't know if you ever.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just don't want to read porn. Maybe I'll just watch it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to. I don't. It's the same reason I don't like John Updike's work. A lot of it is just a white dude who angsts about getting older and just bangs a bunch of women and just acts like an asshole. I'm like, I
That
don't want to
was
fucking read about that.
oddly enough, that was one of my big struggles with House of Leaves. Have you read that?
Oh, I have not, but I have a friend who I'm shocked that he loves that book, because he's always fucking harping on about like, oh, storytelling, oh, sharp storytelling, straightforward storytelling. Let
And
me
he
tell you,
likes House of Leaves.
I have looked at House of Leaves. I don't think I could read it, and I'm generally like more esoteric of a reader, you know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had him read Inherent Vice with me, and he quit like a couple chapters in. He likes that book for some reason. Don't know why he likes that book, but he likes that
Yeah,
book.
that seems very bizarre. But oddly enough, because like I like the esoteric things about it, and like there's like weird psychological stuff. So like there's a chapter of it where like where you finally get to see the scary stuff, but all of the paragraphs are blacked out. That stressed me out for no reason. Uh, but my big struggle with that book is like there are these footnotes that are pages long, right?
Uh huh.
And it's from the perspective of like this guy who found the manuscript and he's fucking narrating his experience as he's reading it. And then he goes on these pages long tangents about like the most misogynist sex he has with women. It happens multiple times in the
You
novel.
know, there's a thing where there's the part of me that's like, you know what? We're fucking men, okay? Men, we fucking love sex, okay? We like sex, rather it be with women or other men. You know,
Mm-hmm.
depending on your taste. We're sometimes, and I hope this doesn't get taken out of context, though I'm sure it probably will.
Oh, I'm gonna clip you. Get ready.
You know, there's that like part of our brain I call the monkey brain, where or the id, I guess is a better way to call it, where it's just like all rationality just gets thrown out the window and just the animal takes over. I'm like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Like we've been men, you know, we're fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I know, like I don't want to come off as like a prude, like like I don't want this like vulgar sex in my artsy horror book. That's not really the problem. It's just I'm weird. I'm like, what's the theme? Like, why is this scene here? How does it add to the overall
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's
vibe?
like
And like, I got to the end of House of Leaves, and I was like, it didn't. It's literally just pages of sex, pages of it for no reason.
yeah, I had a buddy of mine who said he got high once and he wrote like a 30-page sex scene. I'm like, how the hell do you do that, man? How does
That's
that
wild.
work? And he was like, I don't know.
All right, blow for blow, clap for clap.
Yes, I didn't ask him to go for. I mean, I'm hardly a prude, but I wasn't about to ask him to
Yeah,
exfoliate.
send it my way. I'll critique it.
He's probably like, no, but you know, it's but yeah, no, it's you know, I'm not really a I guess I like things to happen. Though I've heard people like stoner on our side of the internet for some reason. You know, I find it interesting the books that make the rounds, as I like to say, on BookTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Stoner made the rounds for a while.
I don't think I've heard
First
of that
Law.
one.
First Law is constantly making the rounds on YouTube. Gentlemen Bastards to a lesser extent. Cormac McCarthy, for another instant, was making the rounds for a while, which was hilarious to me as a longtime fan, because I'm like, because you know, I thought it was interesting to see how people reacted to it. It's weird how that works, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta
Yeah, and
say.
there's always like this ebb and flow. Like it'll be really popular for a little bit, and like a book will go away, and then it'll come back. Kind of like First Law. Well, I'm finishing First Law for the first time now. I've been listening to an audiobook, so I'm
Isn't
on.
Stephen Pacey great?
God, he's so good. And like I usually listen to audiobooks because I like I want to read this book, but I don't have time, so I will tolerate listening to it. Stephen Pacey is like one of the first narrators where I'm like, I fucking love listening to
I
this book.
know. Like, I'm not an audiobook guy either, but I read the books, and then I'll admit, please don't arrest me, FBI. But I may have listened to it for free on
I
YouTube.
may have acquired it.
I may have borrowed it on YouTube. It's fun. It's a cracker, man. Like,
It is, God,
what?
it's so good.
I'm like,
It
dude.
and I'm because like I have my issues with First Law that I'm gonna get into when I do a review on it. Uh, but it's a 5 out of 5 series for me so far, and I'm convinced 2 stars of it is Stephen Pacey.
Oh yeah, I mean he's incredible. He's an incredible narrator, and Yeah, I like Joe's style a lot. Kind of
Yeah,
reminds
I
me
like
of.
I like the way he does character work. I think my big critique of Joe is like it and like I haven't read to the end of Last Argument of Kings yet. I feel like it's just character work, and that is kind of the problem I'm having right now. Is I got through the Blade itself, and everyone warned me before, and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, the Blade itself is kind of like a prologue book to the rest of the trilogy." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So like, it's gonna set up everything. That's fine. And then I got through before they're hanged. I was like, I still can't really articulate what I feel happened, what the plot of the trilogy is, beyond some like vague political maneuverings. Um, but I am enjoying what it is.
Oh
I
dear.
feel like a lot of times I feel like I'm a plot driven reader, and Abercrombie is just very character oriented.
Sorry, I made a bit of a whoop. There we go.
What have you done?
There we go. Might just cut that out later. I was like, oh no, I've lost him. We're not really like I could still hear you, but I couldn't like I was trying to look at something. And it didn't really pan out. But yeah, I was kind of reminded of The Wire from
Okay,
HBO
yeah, from
when
HBO.
watching The First Law. I was like, oh, it's like the fantasy version of that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Though it's not quite as it's a bit more fantasy-y.
I'd say a bit, just a smidge, not too much more.
It's a little fantasy-y.
I do give Joe Abercrombie credit though, as like being like one of the only authors in general, but almost definitely the only fantasy author to like genuinely make me laugh.
Yeah, no, he's funny. Though
Mm-hmm.
Scott Lynch also makes me laugh.
Yeah, I haven't read any Scott Lynch yet, so
He's good. He's good. I mean, you could at least read The Lies of Locomora. See
mm-hmm.
whatever you think of that. But that was
Yeah,
my favorite book last year. That book was just, it was great. I loved it.
it's it's been on my list for a while. I'm trying to be better about because especially when I started reading fantasy, I was really bad about reading one book in a series and then not touching the book two for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I just now started finishing series last year. Um, so I'm trying to be better about that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm hoping, and I've got other things on my docket this year. Like I really want to finish Hobbes' Farseer trilogy.
Yeah, I
Uh,
haven't tried that yet. Um, Admittedly, yeah, it's another one that I say makes the rounds on YouTube,
mm-hmm,
and yeah, I'm just not haven't tried it yet, and it might take me a minute to try it out because there's other stuff I want to read. Like I want
mm-hmm,
to try like not Doctor Strange, Jonathan Strange and Mister Norrell,
mm-hmm.
um,
That's Susan
which
Clark,
I'm
right?
hoping to read in April. If well, I'm already kind of stacked a little bit, but we're in February, late February as of the recording of this, so I think we'll be okay. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty stacked as well. Assassin's Apprentice was my favorite book I read last year.
very
So
interesting.
I thought of, and like I feel like I have taste and I have preference for books, and then all of my favorite books are like the polar opposite of them. Uh,
Yeah, it's
because
interesting. It's interesting how that works.
because generally I don't like first person and I don't like character driven work or like purely character driven work.
You don't like character driven work. That doesn't even make sense. Like,
I
what holds a
like
book together if not characterization? Great
okay,
characters.
not characterization, but like character, like where the whole book is a character study. So like it's not really about a
So
moving.
you're not like a Lolita guy. You don't like
I don't know if I've read
Lolita.
Lolita.
You never read Lolita.
I know I'm
Oh my!
trash.
After all your hipster bullshit, you didn't read Lolita. What's wrong with you?
Oh my god. Um, but no, like and like that's what I would say about Assassin's Apprentice. Assassin's Apprentice is not really about anything happening. It's about Fitz being sad about his dog. the vast majority of the book.
Yeah, I can see how that might turn some people off. You know that friend I was telling you about who likes House of Leaves?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, apparently Robin Hobb, like it's interesting. I'll tell him about a book I just read, and he's like, oh yeah, I read that like 10 years ago. I'm like, what? Yeah.
Huh.
And apparently Assassin's Apprentice was one of those books, and he was like, yeah, I thought it was just meh. I was like, he kind of drives me crazy sometimes, but you know, we're still friends.
So,
That's what the best friends do, you know.
yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I have a friend right now where like we mostly just annoy each other,
Yeah, I mean,
but we're best friends.
yeah, I mean, I tell him about, you know, like I tell him about a book that I think he'll like, and I'll be like, hey man, here's this book, and he'll just be like, eh. I'm
Yeah.
like, motherfucker. It's,
um,
I mean, I know I probably shouldn't take it personally, but I'm like, you fucking guy. I'm just spending all my time. Like I've joked with him recently. I'm like, I've given up on you. Like you're
oh,
disappointing.
I'm the same way.
I'm
Like
kidding though.
I usually don't give out book recommendations too much unless someone like directly asks. But like when I give book recommendations, I 100% expect them to follow through on it immediately. Like when I read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones right when it came out.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
read that. I read that. I really liked that one. It was.
I love that book. I read the description for it on Amazon. I was just browsing my Kindle one day. And I saw the pre-order for it. I was like, that's an instant buy. Read it the week it came out. Loved it. Bought a physical copy and mailed it to my friend and told him to read it.
Well,
Uh,
that's a little bit on the nose there.
oh yeah,
Really.
I pressured him real hard to read it, and he did, and he loved it. So
Yeah, you know, I also read Mongrels from him last year, which I thought was also pretty good. And I may be biased. I love werewolves, but you know,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
good
like
shit.
I love werewolves. I love the, and I kind of like the werewolf coming of age component
Yeah.
of
It was
it.
good. It was good. And
Yeah, I liked Mongrels. I didn't like it quite as I didn't like it anywhere near as much as I like The Only Good Indians. I freaking love that book.
just no, only good. This is ridiculous. I've been trying to find your channel for the past like fucking 20 minutes. I can't.
You still can't play it.
I've been surfing the net looking for it. I
Let's
can't.
get sent to the only good. I haven't done a video on the only good Indians yet. I'm saving it for November.
You mean October or like literally November? You just did it for
November
November.
because it takes place around Thanksgiving time. So
Oh yeah, that's right. You know, I read it in like January. This was before like I read it like right before the pandemic happened, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get back into reading. It's gonna be good. And then um, I got really depressed, and that sucked. That wasn't
legitimate.
fun. Sorry for the audience who saw that, but I had to pull this up here. Oh, yeah, I'm not subscribed to you. That makes sense why I couldn't find you anywhere.
You son of a.
Anyway, um, but yeah, I think Stephen Graham Jones is pretty good. I'm sure. I mean, you know who Evie is. You know she harasses a lot of people about a lot of certain books.
Mm-hmm.
The Spear Cuts Through Water being
Yeah.
you know one of the big ones. She likes Stephen Graham Jones, and I was telling her about Mongrels, and she was like, "Yeah, that's some good shit." That dude
Yeah.
has written a lot. My
Yeah.
God,
When you actually look at his
that dude's cranking them out like it's
backlog,
going
he
out of
does.
style. Like, oh my
God.
God. Yeah, I actually have My Heart Is a Chainsaw. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to it either, but the third one is coming out in May, I think.
Yeah, something
Maybe.
like that. You know,
So I gotta binge them.
I'm more of like a Victor Laval fan. Like, I don't know if you've read him,
Mm-mm.
but I dig his work a lot. I actually just covered him on my channel not too long ago. Um, who else do I like? I liked Paul Tremblay's book, The Cabin at the End of the World. I like that book a lot.
Of what I've read, that's the one I liked the most. So there's something about Paul Tremblay's work that just doesn't vibe with me. I don't know what it is.
Um,
Um, but I agree. Kevin at the End of
wait,
the World was
you
my
don't like
favorite.
post-apocalyptic stuff?
No, I do like post-apocalyptic stuff. It's not really.
Was it his writing style or something?
I think it's his writing style. Well, because I read Cabin at the End of the World, and I like that one for the most part. It's I do this to myself though when I read horror. Um, because I wanted the book to be way gnarlier than it was. And I keep doing that to myself, where I go and I'm like, this book is gonna be gross as fuck, and then it's not, and I'm disappointed, so I don't like the
Dude,
book.
I got one for you. Christopher Triana, Gone to See the Riverman. That book
Gone
is
to See the Riverman.
nasty.
Okay.
If you like gnarly nasty stuff, like there you go. Like
It's not necessarily well, I do like gnarly nasty stuff. It's more of like
don't
when I
deny
have
it,
that
okay?
expectation going in of like, man, I want that gnarly thing, and I go and I don't get it. I just get kind of mad.
That's another book I recommended to my friend, and he was just like, "Eh." I'm like, this
What?
fucking guy." I'm like,
Well, like I read The Troop by Nick Cutter last year. I
I'm
don't know
like,
if you've heard of that one.
fuck. That was a moment where I was like, fuck this.
Fuck this guy.
Not like that, but I was just like, man, fuck recommending him stuff. Get it done. No, but what were you saying about? I've heard of this book, The Troop.
Yes, it's by Nick Cutter. Let me set the scene for you, and you tell me what this book is about. I think it's not Staten Island, but it's a little island off of Canada, and a Boy Scout troop is there over the weekend for a camping trip. And a strange homeless man comes out of the woods and is ravenously hungry.
Oh no.
And whatever is making him ravenously hungry appears to be infectious. What happens in that book?
A bunch of kids start murdering each other.
Yeah, kids eat each other,
Oh
right?
my
Not
God.
one fucking kid gets eaten. They don't
What?
even bite. They don't even bite each other. I was so angry.
Wow, really? Oh my God, that was the thing that really. Like, that's the thing. Like, oh my God.
Look, I look at I'm reading the back flap and it says Boy Scouts Island, ravenously hungry, and I'm like, this is a book about cannibalism. I'm gonna read the
Sounds kind
cannibalism
of
book.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, and like it opens with a quote from it. So
Just another. I don't want to go into that.
but instead it takes an arc where like I don't want to spoil it too much, but like one of the kids is just a psychopath, and I'm like, why aren't they just cannibals?
So I'm guessing when you read Black Leopard, Red Wolf, you were really digging the violence and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that part that really sticks in your head. You know when he gets spoilers for Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Just mute this part where he gets gang raped by the hyenas, and he also gets his eye fucking taken out. That was the one part I had to put the book down. I'm like, this might be a 5
yeah.
For one, I had to get a drink. But two, this might be a 5-star read.
And that's pretty much what I had to read the first 20 pages of Black Leopard, Red Wolf probably 3 times before I really got it.
Oh, it took me like a year, maybe. No, I finished it around. No, yeah, about a year to finish it. It wasn't
because like the style of the book is obviously very different, and like that took me a while to kind of get used to like the cadence of it.
Read it aloud. Then, I've learned that reading it aloud really made it kind of sing for me.
That makes sense. But once I got used to that, and then I had to get used to the narrator, like basically just fucking lying to you the whole time, right?
Yeah, that was the thing actually. I was thinking of when I was reading it. I'm like, so where is he bullshitting this? Like you know, because there has to be hints somewhere. Man, there's like a subreddit. I haven't really. That really helped me out with like like with what was going on, but like man.
So the book is hard because like it's almost like Mouse in that sense of like you have to go really slow and you like have to like piece that apart, and then when you do, it is the most fucking graphically, sexually, physically violent thing like, you will ever experience.
There's parts where the main character just like goes to like a whorehouse, like a fucking gay whorehouse, and he's like. He's like, oh yeah, you know, I was slinging some cock around, you know, it was fine. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this?
but you also get shapeshifters,
yeah,
and the most fucking
like
horrifying
people with like electric vampire bird people with electric blood. I'm like, this book is fucking psychotic. Awesome. This book
is the most psychotic creatures you've ever read in a book. Oh my god, I love it so much. And there's like an
island that literally moves. I'm like, this book is fucking awesome. Like, why are no more people? Well, I probably can suspect why not a lot of people took to it. I mean, it is not your typical.
It is not an easy read, and it is not for the faint of heart, even remotely.
I already mentioned the gang rape by the fucking hyenas. Oh my god, that scene was just. I had to put that shit down. Like I was like, I gotta get me a drink. That was
My God. I want to reread it now.
I know, man. I'm like, man, I've been wanting to reread it because I'm actually going to read Moonwitch Spider King
Yeah, I need to read the
this
second one.
summer. Because you know what's interesting about this book? That book felt like a summer book because like you can
Mm-hmm.
feel the heat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Marlon James is really like he really loves the senses, you know.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, he really loves to he really loves to be like this is what it feels like outside. You know, you're like oh fuck.
Mm-hmm. Man, loved it. Let's. You want to buddy read it?
Yeah, man. Be like, yo, dude, this book is. Hopefully, it'll. I'm really nervous, dude, because I'm like, bro, if this book is not gonna be as fun as Black Leopard Red Wolf, I'm gonna be so sad. But
Yeah,
I've
I
heard it's
know.
pretty good, so you know, we'll see, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. But what actually motivated me to read Black Leopard Red Wolf was because I was kind of curious about it. Obviously, like the cover is beautiful, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
Uh, reading the back I'm like, this sounds interesting. It's like, what do people read on think on Goodreads of it? And dude, the 1-star reviews on Goodreads are fucking incredible. and
I
they
have to look at.
and they 100% motivated me to buy the book. I mean, stuff like this book is the most disgusting thing I've ever read in my life.
That's what fucking sold you on it.
Yeah, I read that. I was like, this is awesome.
You read that and you're like, this sounds great.
I mean, there's a certain type of person on BookTube. I'm gonna or
Oh my
on
god, yeah.
Goodreads.
I was on my.
I'm not gonna.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can finish your thought.
Oh, you're fine. I'm not gonna. I don't want to lean into stereotypes, but there's a certain type of reader on BookTube where I know if I click on their profile and I get a general gist of what they read, anything they don't like, I'm gonna love.
Okay, that's interesting.
Um, yeah. And you'll know what I mean when you go to read the Winsor reviews on Goodreads, because my God. Okay, fine. It's white women romantasy readers.
Oh. Oh, so
Like-
someone saw my fourth wing video. I see. No, no, but I yeah, I read Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and I loved it for the most part.
yeah,
It's
absolutely loved it.
it's
It is
it's a
dense
fucking
to read.
masterpiece.
I think that's
It's a
probably the
fucking
only critique I could have.
yeah. I'll agree with that. Though there's some moments where it's really clear what's going on. You know, but
And I really think once you kind of get that rhythm for it, like once you kind of understand what the book is, it's way easier to read. It's not like Malazan where it's kind of like always dense until like 3/4 of the way through the book.
yeah, like there's a one of the parts of the book towards the end. This fucking random guy shows up at the jail where the tracker's at, and he just lays down a freaking poem, and you're like, what is this, man?
Yeah.
This book
Oh
is
my
crazy.
God. Love it. I love that book.
But yeah, no, I enjoy that book thoroughly when I was reading it.
Yes.
And
Very
no, not
thoroughly.
because there was graphic violence and I mean, don't get me wrong.
I mean, and that's
He
at
doesn't
least
hold
half
back.
of why I enjoyed it. So
He didn't hold back. But yeah, no, I thought it was again, it was interesting trying to figure out when he was lying and when he wasn't cuz like there's some of it where you're like, "Oh," and you're like, "Oh wait, he might be lying
yeah,
about that."
that's not true. But also, like, is all the stuff with the birds with the electric blood, is that real? Because that part sounds fake.
that was one of the reasons like all the cool monsters and stuff. I'm like, I'm giving this this is a 5-star read right here. This is great.
Another book I read that I was very disappointed by, and I should have read the reviews beforehand because I would have known right off the bat. A book I was disappointed by because I wanted it to be more horrifically violent was Maeve Fly by C.J. Lead. And then if people are going to listen to this and be like, that book is graphically violent, Caleb. What the fuck are you talking about? Not as violent as I thought or wanted it to be. It's feminist American Psycho, which thematically I love.
So, did you ever read or watch American Psycho?
I've seen the movie. I've not read the book.
Oh, okay. I was about to say they're pretty close.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie a lot. But like the premise of this is like it's female American Psycho. It quotes it in the beginning, and like at one point in the book, the titular character picks up American Psycho and gets inspired by it.
Wow.
Like It is not
Wow.
subtle at all.
Wow. That is. Don't do that. Come on. You
Um,
serious?
Now keep in mind, like there's some absolutely stellar, disgusting prose in the book. Um,
What?
I don't want this to be a knock on CJ Lead as a writer because she's a very good prose writer. She writes very good, gross stuff.
That's very good, gross stuff. I
Well,
like that.
I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. I have it highlighted on my Kindle notes, but she refers to
Wow,
like she
literally
refers
one
to
of
Earth
the.
as like a wad of spunk circling the world or circling the sun. I'm like,
Oh
that's
God,
incredible.
that. Oh.
That's incredible.
Oh man, I'm already getting the sheebie-jeebies from that. God.
Yeah, it's like that all the time. That part's great.
Wow,
The
literally one of the epigraphs is "This is not an exit from American Psycho." Okay, they're not subtle at all.
not subtle at all. Um, but where I struggle with it is I wanted it to just be about Maeve murdering people, right? Uh,
All that soul searching, fuck all that. I want to see her murder
I
people.
don't care about any of that. Um,
Want to know how empty she is on the inside, but fuck that.
I want to
Murder.
know about that, but like I want to know about it as she murders people. But it kind of it takes kind of a romance. I would call it a very graphic, dark romance.
Okay.
Um, because there's some toxic relationship stuff. There's Maeve struggling with her identity. Her ideas of like she's this aloof, dark person, but she's starting to fall for a guy, and that makes her feel weird, and that makes her want to murder people. Uh,
That's a stretch and a half. Where she's like, "Oh, I like this
and then
guy. I'm
something
gonna murder
happens,
people."
and then something happens, and then she does go on a killing spree, and that part of the book is awesome. About like 30 pages,
So, in
fucking
other words,
incredible.
I've met a fellow sick bastard. I love
Yeah.
this.
Oh man, like I would 100% just read the part where she goes on a killing spree as a short story. I'd be like 5 out of 5, perfect, chef's kiss.
God, no, but see, when someone says spunk unironically, I have to just
Oh, I
fucking
know.
shiver, dude.
It's nasty. I
Oh,
love it.
oh, ugh.
Ooh.
I can't. It's like the word moist. You're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no,
You're like, that's wrong.
that's just wrong. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I enjoy a lot of really dark stuff. Did you ever read
Mm.
Beyond Redemption?
No, I never did.
Oh, there's a chock full of that graphic stuff that you would probably dig.
Excellent.
Like, there's literally an orgy of violence and just, oh god, you have to read it for yourself, because man, there were some parts of that book where I had another one of those books where I had to just sit down and make myself a drink after it was over. Oh my
And who
god.
was that by again?
Michael R. Fletcher here. I'll go.
Michael Orflesh. That's what I thought it was. So yeah, I have it on my pile.
Here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I have a feeling that Michael Orflesh is one of those guys I'm just gonna vibe with, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Well, I just discovered Beyond Redemption like 2 months ago. So
Yeah, also has that gorgeous Richard Anderson artwork, so that
mm-hmm.
works too.
Mm-hmm.
That's always good too. I want to get him on this show as well,
Oh yeah.
because I asked him, I'm like, why the fuck is this book so disgusting? And he just gave a really nice answer to it too. He wasn't like snarky or anything about it. He didn't go like, man, fuck you. He didn't do any of that. He was just like, no, I was just playing with some stuff, and it's really good.
I was just messing around and it kind of worked.
Yeah,
All
pretty
right, I'll
much.
take it.
Like, there's an orgy scene in that book, and I think you'll dig you'll dig it
You'll
from what
dig
I've
the
heard.
orgy.
No, but like you will be both probably very appalled, and you will be like, yes, because
That's like this sounds weird. I want to feel gross while I'm reading.
oh, you will when you read Beyond Redemption. Oh, you will. You definitely
um,
will. Oh,
I'm like, yeah. I don't want to feel good. Uh, I think I said this last time when we were on a stream together. I was like, if I'm not traumatized by a book, I'm not gonna like it.
oh man, that's.
Um,
Yeah, no,
that's very much
I'm
how.
a similar way. Like, if I'm not like, if I'm not feeling anything, then like, now I don't have to feel bad, but I'll put it this way: I like to test my own boundaries, because I don't know, I'm just a sick, twisted fuck for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nope. I'm right there with you.
I love
Uh,
like people the fucking fuck the trigger warnings, okay? Like fuck all of them. Give me all the I if I am not crying at least once. Okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. But seriously, if I'm not like uncomfortable when reading a book, then like what the fuck what's the point, you know?
I like, keep in mind, like my bar for
I
liking
like being uncomfortable. Let's put it that way.
my bar for being for liking a book, or like loving a book rather, is when I get to the end, am I dead inside? Is the answer yes? I loved it.
You know, it makes me kind of surprised that you didn't take to, because I remember you mentioned you weren't really vibing with Cormac McCarthy, and we were like, oh no, we were vibing so well before then.
And then you said, I don't, I think it's specifically the road. I don't know what it is about that book, but like I don't like. I've read it 3 times now. I just don't.
I'm curious what you would think of Blood Meridian, because that book is also just fucking nasty.
And
Like,
that's because like I need to read it because well, I really love the movie No Country for Old Men. So would I like the book? And I've also heard that Blood Meridian is like one of the most fun books around. So I was like, I need to try it. I need to find out what the judge is all about.
it's one of them. God, I don't even, I think that might be one of the most. It's one of the most violent books I've read in a long time.
Well, sounds like I'll be down for it. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the road. I just like it doesn't click with me.
Um,
Um,
okay, I'm looking at your 5 books. I will reread. You got Fight Club on there. I'm just gonna go on a little tangent. I'm fucking tired of Fight Club. Okay, that I'll
lay it on me.
I'll give I'll give Palahniuk his credit. You know how you were saying earlier. You know what? I'm not surprised that you might dig Fight Club, because that book is also fucking disgusting. Like Jesus Christ, Palahniuk knows
It
how to
is
gross you
disgusting.
out.
Yeah, all of Palahniuk's books are like that
Like
though.
you know, like yeah, I've read Lullaby, I've read Rant. You know, he's not a stranger to fucking grossing you out. But like, I don't know. I guess it's just a pop culture phenomenon that Fight Club has become, that I'm just like, I can't do this shit anymore.
I think I part of my so I loved, like I read it when I was like 12, too fucking young. Watched the movie when I was 12. And it really meant a lot to me. And I gotta figure out how to say this without sounding like a fucking chud. Uh, but I really enjoy those books. I also feel like, again, I'm being a douchebag. I also feel like I'm maybe a minority of people who actually understand what the book is about. Because
Well, I
there's
thought it
this.
was pretty straightforward. It's a satire of toxic masculinity and
What's the
corporate
thing?
America and
That's the thing, Britton, is you're media literate.
oh
um,
oh
there's two, at least from the people I've experienced both online and in life, is like there seems to be two type of people who understand or who enjoy or don't enjoy Fight Club. And there's the chuds who got all the wrong lessons from it.
uh-huh.
And then there's broadly egalitarian, feminist leaning people who maybe misunderstand the very negative things that are in the movie. Uh, because like they rightly say that, it's ruggedly sexist. Yeah, because they're sexist people and it's a sexist system. So I don't know. I don't know what point I'm trying to get. The
Yeah,
point
I
is,
know.
I think.
What I think is interesting, I was talking about this the other day, is that I find sometimes there with movies you get the point across more succinctly because you can see it. I kind of view
Mm-hmm.
that way with American Psycho. You know, people were talking about, you know, how offensive it is and how like disgusting it is, and I'm like, if you read the book, it is a very tongue-in-cheek book. Like, it is not meant to be taken, well, completely seriously. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but when you watch the movie, you get a clearer idea. Like, oh, this isn't entirely serious. Like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this guy's out of his rocker.
Yeah. So, and I think it's a struggle of the film was done so well, and Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden is so good and so charming. It had almost the opposite effect, where people really identified with Tyler instead of thinking that he's the psychopath, literal embodiment of toxic masculinity that he is. Um,
Also, I think there's a lot of, and I think this is what connects with a lot of people, because like I'm kind of struggling with this right now, where I think it really connected with people who were feeling stuck in
mm-hmm.
their lives, though of course in the wrong ways. In some ways, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna start my own fight club, and you're like, dude, that is not what they're doing. That is not at all what they're talking about here.
Which I think is kind of the big problem with the book and the movie is I think Chuck Palahniuk does so well identifying the feeling, like the feeling of isolation, the feeling of like not being happy with where you're at in life, especially from like a masculine perspective, does not entirely identify why very well. There's like vaguely stuff about consumerism, but the real meat of that is like the book is actually about capitalism and how capitalism separates you from your identity and separates you from your sense of belonging.
I thought it was
Uh,
also about like I thought it was more about how the people react to it rather than trying to diagnose the problem. Because like
yeah, and
if
that's
it
true as
tried to
well.
diagnose the problem, I don't think it would be as effective a story. But going back, like I respect Fight Club a lot. It's just I'm tired of
No,
it.
I 100% get that feeling.
Like I am
So
just exhausted. I'm like there are other Palahniuk books that you'll enjoy because they're
yes,
also very vile and disgusting. I'm sure
yes,
you'll like them.
read Invisible Monsters.
Like I read the one Guts. Oh
I don't
god.
think I've read Guts.
Oh man.
I've read Haunted. Have you read Haunted?
I have not read Haunted.
Disgusting, depraved, horrific book. I mean,
Have you read
oh, you.
I gotta mention this because my buddy AJP I was telling you about earlier who got high and wrote a 30-page sex scene. Have you ever read Hog?
I've never read Hog. No.
Apparently, according to him, that is the most disgusting, depraved book he has ever read in his life. So,
And who is it by?
Samuel Delaney.
Samuel Delaney. Interesting. Hog. I'll look it up real quick.
Hogg.
Hogg.
Apparently, it is described not just by him, but by a lot of people as one of the most fucked things they've ever read in their lives. And I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. Gotta. I don't know if I want to read it though. It might be too fucked up even for
I've
me.
seen the themes and holy shit. Oh my god. This is wild.
Right? It's fucking crazy.
Well then, how long is it? It's 200. Oh, I can stomach that. It's only 200 pages.
Oh man, but going back to Fight Club, like I've read Lullaby, I've read Rant, I've read the one about the suicide bomber. I forget what that's called.
I don't think I've read that one.
I think it's Survivor. I could be wrong. And also it's just with Palahniuk, I feel like he kind of repeats himself. And once you get like he's one of those writers. Once you get his shtick, he's kind of like Roth. Once you get his shtick, you kind of get sick of him. You're like, there's better writers out there, you know. Like,
Yeah, I'd say like if you like Palin, like you read Fight Club and you like it, find like the 2 or 3 other stories that appeal to you, and then you pretty much got your bases covered.
yeah, I mean, I actually read Knock 'em Stiff not too long ago, and that was also pretty well, yeah, it was pretty vile. It was pretty vile.
This is going back to my douchebag era, but going back to like things that like I like to be traumatized by books. I think that's why I really liked Vonnegut in high school.
I've only read Slaughterhouse-5. I want to read more. I actually
I
want to
li-
reread Slaughterhouse-5 at some point.
I like Slaughterhouse 5 a lot, and like for most people, if they're like I want to read Vonnegut, that's the one I recommend because it's the most popular. It's also like 90 pages, and you get to look at boobs at the end.
I mean, imagine being Steinbeck. You know, you get to the end of Grapes of Wrath, which is kind of this kind of dry book, and some lady just pulls her fucking tit out and starts.
Oh, I listen. I fucking love Grapes of Wrath, man. I love that book.
I actually need to read it again because I read it a little bit of it when I was in high school, and I don't know if I was at the right age because I was like, yeah, you know. Also, I'm from
Yeah,
Oklahoma, so that probably didn't help.
it is dry, especially in like the first half.
It's very like I don't mind political stuff, but it's dryly political, and you're like, oh my
But man,
gosh.
once you get to California though, and once you get to like the camp, oh, doesn't it just get you pumped up?
Though I read
I
East of
could.
Eden, and I love that book, so I
I
guess it won't be too
I
bad.
really like East of Eden a lot too.
But
Um,
yo, Steinbeck's pretty crazy too. Like fucking, she pulls out her titty at the end of that book, and lets like a kid and his like dad just drink from it. You're like,
mm-hmm,
what is this? Where did
mm-hmm.
this come from?
I could write a whole fucking thesis about that scene. um,
Like, I mean, I think I got it mostly when I was younger because it's like it's about how like capitalism just takes and I mean, my God, capitalism gets beaten up in literature, but I digress. It's
Especially by Steinbeck.
oh yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah, he had issues with capitalism. Oh my God.
Not subtle about it at all either.
Oh
Um,
no, no, no.
but I'm also generally I'm not a big fan of subtlety.
I could tell talking about your love of graphic violence. I could tell that.
Why the guy who just likes to watch people get tortured on page doesn't like subtlety? Crazy.
I think a lot
Um,
of people get subtlety and nuance mixed up because
that's
I used to
legitimate. I
get
think
it mixed up until I was like, I realized I'm like, okay, these mean different things. Like, okay, you know.
hmm I'm broadly on the feeling of I I don't like the idea of like needing to reread a book to fully appreciate its themes and ideas.
I'm a
There
similar way, but there's some books that I feel have eluded me, and I just feel I must reread it at some point.
yeah,
And also, there are books I want to reread to see if I just liked it because at the time, or if like no, I dig this book.
yeah, and this isn't to discourage rereading because I'm in a rereading phase right now. It's more of like I don't like feeling like I don't like getting to the end of a book and being like I don't get this, and I feel like I'm supposed to read it again to get it. I and like this comes from me being in theater because like theater people, you want to talk about people who wanted fucking symbolism and everything, like oh, and like when they see the play again, they'll really get it. Like they're never gonna fucking see the play again. It's running for 2 weeks. Uh, you have to get out there. You have to hit them hard with your theme, and you have to get the fuck out. um,
That makes sense. I guess I mean,
and
my
I
God.
think I've just carried that over into my taste in literature too. Is like if I'm gonna read this book, I better get fucking everything on the first run.
So okay, you like stuff that's in your. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I like it to be about stuff, and I like to get it. I don't want to feel stupid.
I don't want to feel stupid. I hear you.
Yeah,
I
but
hear you.
also don't be ham-fisted. It's
Oh my
a
God, yeah. No, don't get ham-fisted, please, because I mean, the worst that the my how do you pronounce it? Anathema. I can't
yeah.
pronounce it.
Anathema.
Anathema is or well my like just kryptonite. A book that will make me or something in a book that'll just make me fucking hurl is preachiness and just
Mm-hmm.
fucking letting the message get in the way of the story. You want to know why I don't hate Wall Street, the movie Wall Street? Because Michael Douglas was fucking incredible in that movie. If he was not in that movie, I think it would have sucked. I would have
Mm-hmm.
hated it. But he's so freaking good in that movie. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen Wall Street,
I don't think I've seen Wall Street, so
but it's really good if only for Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko. I mean, literally, there's a scene where he gives a speech about why greed is good, and you're like, oh, okay. But he delivers it like I don't want to go on my unhinged rant about Wall Street at the moment, but there's a book I read called The Devil Takes You Home. I absolutely fucking despise that book.
you okay? We'll talk about it. Tell me why.
Did you read it?
I did read it.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
I really liked it until the end.
Okay. Thought it was pretty ham fisted though. That's
It,
why
it, it,
it's one of those things. I thought it was pretty ham fisted.
it is incredibly ham-fisted. Like it literally tells you what it is thinking.
Seriously though, there's a
Um,
scene where the fucking guy, like what the fuck was that guy's name? Like he's like the Spanish dude who Marco's hanging
mm-hmm,
out with,
mm-hmm.
and he just like beats up this fucking racist guy, and I'm like, this is that took me out of the book. That was the moment I'm like, this book fucking sucks, but I don't have too much longer, so I'll just fucking deal with it.
Yeah, did not like that scene. And like the scene where they're on the border and they're like, oh, like the actual gun dealers are the white guys crossing the border.
Yeah, that was fucking
There,
bad.
I really like the themes it was exploring in the book. but it did get very ham-fisted at certain points.
Also,
But
I
also,
didn't like the change of Marco from sad guy over his daughter to, oh, I'm killing people now. That, it's interesting. I can tell pretty quickly if a book's gonna vibe with me or if I'm going to at least tolerate the experience. I can tell not too far in, unless the book just completely decides to go 180 on me, which has happened. But that book from the beginning, I was like, there's something fishy about this. And yeah, it was a fucking train wreck from the beginning of that book. And there's some cool stuff in there, but it was just how that
yeah,
book won the fucking Shirley Jackson Award. I have no idea, but
I think the depravity of it saved it for me.
of
Um,
course.
of course, because like again, I like the themes. I like I like broadly the idea of wow, look at all the dark stuff we'll do to survive under capitalism. Dig that. I agree. The turn from like being sad about his daughter to killing people was a little extreme.
It kind of felt like he was just some angry guy. He was almost like the guy from Fight Club, like this fucking crazy angry guy who just wants to take out his fucking issues on the world. And you're like,
hmm
but it's not
But
as well done in that book as it is in Fight Club. You get the guy, and there's probably people who are gonna fucking decry me as a racist or some bullshit like that. But I've
no,
seen that this book has gotten some mixed reviews by people on Goodreads, so I'm not alone in that. So I'm glad I'm not alone in disliking the book.
no, I think I think your criticism on it being like ham-fisted are right because it is. Um, but the bolt cutter scene, but but the crocodile scene.
Yeah, I mean, it did illustrate. I mean, I was actually intrigued. Like, I wanted to read this. I was like, oh man, a cartel horror book. This should be great. Cartel, scary fucking people. Like, you watch fucking Ozark, or you've read books about it. Like, they're fucking scary people. You can milk a lot out of that cow.
hmm And I really like the general premise of like, oh, what if all the like the crazy superstition stuff the cartel believed was real?
Yeah,
I'm like,
like
oh,
I like the bit with the creepy, like whatever the hell that thing was. It was like a skinwalker or something.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Gabino Iglesias does horror very well, I felt. And I thought that really carried me through some of the more flagrant scenes.
It was basically like if Breaking Bad just fucking sped through Walter White turning. It's like if Walter White turned into Heisenberg like the next day after he got like his fucking cancer. That's what it felt like to me. Cause
hmm And then like the end is terrible. Uh
well, I thought the ending was actually okay. That's interesting you say that. I thought the ending was okay because I'm like, yeah, where else was that gonna end? Like he wasn't gonna fucking get back with his wife. Seriously, when he
yeah.
started going, oh, we're gonna be with my wife again, and we're gonna have some kids. I'm like, he ain't fucking getting out of this alive.
Yeah, sorry.
He ain't
Like
fucking getting out of
I,
this alive.
I don't really mind him dying at the end. I don't really like the twist of him killing his friend and like the other guy. They were the spoilers for
Oh yeah.
The Devil Takes You Home. Whoopsie dipsy. But like when he kills his friend and like the guy they're with ends up being with that guy's wife.
So yeah, that okay. I can see. Yeah, I that was kind of a dumb twist where I'm like, so the guy was basically cuckolding the actually only sympathetic character of that book. By the way, the
Mm-hmm.
only character I actually gave a shit about because Marcos is fucking crazy and this other guy's a fucking asshole. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, so you shot him because you were fucking nailing his what? This book sucks. Like I was like, fuck.
I did not like that twist at all.
That was so stupid. Like I was like, oh god, I hate that book.
Yeah,
Oh.
I would have rather him just died in Mexico.
Again, no, but seriously, he pulled the whole like, oh man, I'm gonna get back with my wife. We're gonna have a great time. We got all this money. We're gonna have another kid. I'm like, this dude ain't getting out of here alive. Like,
Yeah, sorry, dude, you're not
no
gonna make it.
way he is getting out of there alive. Like, come on. There are better ways you can do that. If I
All right,
cared, if I cared about what was going on, this would be more effective. I wouldn't just be like, yeah, he's gonna die.
all right, but I'm telling you guys, listeners, viewers, the bolt cutter scene and the crocodile scene 100% make it worth it.
Oh yeah, and what is it like? Isn't like one of the people at the like compound where that guy was at, or the like the boss is at? Isn't she like transgender or something?
I think so.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm like, I wouldn't expect the cartel to be progressive, but okay, I'm not gonna question it. I don't want them coming to my house. I've heard some of the shit they like to do, and I don't want to be involved in
I
that.
don't want to be involved with it.
You know, um, but yeah, no, I did not like that book. Graphic violence aside,
We'll have to agree to disagree, I guess.
yeah.
It is ham-fisted. I don't think it's the most ham-fisted book I've ever read, though.
What is the most ham-fisted book? I wouldn't even call it the most ham-fisted book I've read, but it was really ham-fisted to the point where I was like, this book fucking sucks.
I think I went into it like I'm probably a little timid because I went into it knowing it was gonna be about like racial tensions. Like I knew there was like critiques about the border or like perceptions of Latino Americans in it.
Mm.
So I think getting to that point, I was like, okay, yeah, here it is. Um, so the most ham-fisted book I've ever read. Oh boy. Have you read the Left Behind series?
Oh my lord! Yeah, a long time ago.
I grew up Baptist.
Oh man, a lot of those people have a great grasp of subtlety.
Yeah,
And
incredible
nuance.
grasp of subtlety. Let me tell you. I have read some fiction that is flat out fucking hilarious. And it's not even the Left Behind series, it's the Left Behind teen series.
Oh, I
Oh
read a
my
book of that. My mom got me that. And I'm
god.
like, this is weird. I had to put it down.
Hmm. Is that the most on the nose thing I've ever read though? I also went through a phase where like I loved kind of like triggering myself and like watching stuff I would just know would make me mad.
Did you watch like a
So
Serbian film? Or I haven't watched that film, but I've heard that film's pretty fucked up.
what movie?
A Serbian film?
I don't think I've seen a Serbian film.
Oh.
This was more of okay. So I don't I don't want to offend anyone's religious beliefs, but I'm atheist.
Uh-huh.
I come from a deeply conservative fundamentalist background,
Uh-huh.
so I like watching fundamentalist Christian movies and getting annoyed at them. Like I went through a phase where I was watching God's Not Dead on repeat.
I actually kind of dug that film, but like, it's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I'll put it that way. It's kind of a
Really?
guilty pleasure for me. Like, it's not. It's a stupid film, but like, I had a fun time with it. Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. Yeah, he looks like he's having a good time playing this just douche that you want to punch in the face. I love it. I love it.
I always point to it as like, hey, this is an example of how propaganda films work.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think propaganda. Well, I mean, I won't pretend that propaganda is the greatest thing in the world because it's not. But why am I had to preface that, but like I don't like it gets a negative connotation. Like it
I mean,
doesn't.
propaganda is everywhere, right? Like,
Like one of my least favorite films is Elysium, and that is one of the most ham-fisted things I have ever seen
oh
in my
my,
life.
incredibly
I
ham-fisted.
hate that movie. Oh,
Especially considering that really upsets me because District 9 is such a good movie.
yeah, it was fine.
Britton, we were having such a great conversation, and now you're gonna tell me that District 9 is
No,
not a
I
great
like it a
movie.
lot. I mean, I like it a lot more than Elysium. So yeah, it's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's a good movie. I like it.
But I think what makes District 9 work over Elysium is District 9 had great themes and like it had a great thing to say about immigration and segregation camps and like some of the actual political issues that were going on in South Africa at the time without ever looking at the camera and being like, isn't this bad? It
Yeah,
had good characters and good themes that worked together and
yeah,
told a good
I'll give you
story.
that. Also, the special
Um,
effects are really good in that movie. And again, they were good
mhm.
in Elysium as well, but Elysium is fucking terrible. So
Yeah, but Elysium literally fucking tells you like the moral truth you're supposed to get from it. Um,
Oh, it's so self-righteous about it. God, I don't you know what? Nope, nope,
mhm.
nope. I am not gonna rant about Elysium, though I really want to. I hate that film so much. It's
Well, what
just,
else are we gonna rant about?
I mean, what's another? There's a comic called Bitch Planet that I hate because of how ham-fisted it is.
Well, I like that title.
You may like it. It is as non-subtle as Wall Street.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line between being not too subtle and being ham-fisted. So
Oh no, it's really ham-fisted, but you might enjoy it because of it's very much like it's basically a women's prison film. So
interesting.
yeah, in the future.
Whoa.
No, um, I mean, there's a lot of books that I want to read at some point, like the tr- like I do want to read The Troop at some point.
Yeah. Like, because I'm honestly, even if I'm taking out my extreme disappointment in the lack of
And the
cannibalism,
lack of graphic
um,
violence.
I'm because like you'll read the book and you're like, this book is fucking violent, Caleb. What are you talking about? No, that's not the point. It's not cannibalistic.
It's not cannibalistic.
Um, yeah, sure. Spoiler alert. Almost all the kids die, but they didn't die in the way I wanted them to, which was them fucking eating each other.
So it's like if you watch the fucking Jason movies and you watch Jason pick up that kid in the lunch bag and just beats him up. You're just like, that sucked. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite. Though,
um,
admittedly, that's one of my favorite Jason kills.
well, it's funny because like
Because
my
it's
wife and
so
I,
fucking stupid. It's like,
they become fever dreams at a certain point. They just get wild. Is it the seventh movie where like he punches that street punk in the like uppercuts him, like knocks his whole fucking head off?
oh, I don't know. Oh god, I've stopped watching those movies a long time ago.
um,
I might ask one of my friends who's like a big fan. He might be able to tell me.
but my wife and I just watched Friday the 13th for her first time
Oh no.
on Halloween, and like we watched the whole thing. She's like, "Jason's not even in this movie." I was like, "Yeah, he's in the second one."
um
Yeah, this one's about the mom.
yeah, I see. So have you read The Boatman's Daughter? Because I wanted to read that book for a while now. Or
The
are you
Boatman's
just? Oh wait, no, it says books I've reread. I'm a dumbass. I apologize, but yeah,
the Boatman's Daughter made me want to quit writing.
this I do want to read this. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I was really hoping I could do it last year during. Well, I was gonna read it during the summer last year. Didn't get around to it. Then I put it on my Spookathon read. Didn't get to it. So maybe this year. This year will be
This year,
the
you're gonna do
chosen.
it.
This will be the. Though I want to read his vampire book. In the Valley of the
In
Sun.
Valley of the Sun, incredible.
I want to read
Um,
that though. So that's really kind of tickling my pickle. I want to like.
yeah, I have
Is
read.
is the Boatman's Daughter like? Is it good? Like
I wanted to give up writing after I read it. Uh,
so good?
yeah, I got to the end of that book and I was like, "There's literally no fucking way I'm gonna write a book this good. Why am I even trying?"
Yeah, I know. I'm like, man.
Uh, God damn, The Boatman's Daughter is so good. Um, and it's not that gnarly. There are a few moments where I go, oh, "Okay, that's pretty gnarly."
I
But
heard a
like it's
baby
mostly.
dies in like the first chapter.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
I'm like, yo, that's messed up.
and you'll notice that's the thing with Andy Davidson. You're gonna read In the Valley of the Sun, and you're gonna read The Boatman's Daughter. He's like, and you say, I think he might have issues. Um, but it is dark and it's got a great atmosphere. It's inspired by Russian folklore. And
Oh, I
it's
thought
in
it
the
was like what the little bits I read. I thought it was, or well, from what I saw, I thought it was more like Southern Gothic.
well, yeah, because it is. But it's in the swamps of Alabama. But
Oh,
the main character's grandmother is like a Russian witch, so she's like a bog witch.
I guess she wanted to get away from the cold, so she went to fucking Alabama, one of the hottest places in America.
It
That isn't
is
Missouri. Oh my
it
god.
is fucking incredible. It is an incredible book. It is dark. It is beautiful. It is emotional. Andy Davidson is a beautiful writer.
You're really getting me hyped up to read this book now. I
It
have
is
like
fucking.
I have fucking 4 books here. There's actually a couple of them I haven't started. I haven't started Sharp's Tiger yet, or What Moves the Dead. I'm doing that with my friend John. Which,
Oh, I like What Moves the Dead a lot. So,
speaking of that, I was mentioning Black Leopard, Red Wolf on my friend John's live stream a few months ago, and everyone was just fucking shitting on it. It was really sad.
next time that happens, you just message me. I'll hop on that chat and we'll sort these people out. But hauntingly beautiful book, incredible.
I'll have to check that out, man. You're getting me excited to read the book.
In the Valley of the Sun is also really good, but I did not like it nearly as much as I liked The Boatman's Daughter.
Oh man, I mean, if you like that, I think you'll like Gone to See the River, man, because it's also like it's really hot. Like it's one of those books that'll make you sweat, even though you're like, even though you're not there.
I've been really into like hot books. Like I like to feel muggy when I'm reading. I guess
you like those hot girl books that Evie and them are always talking about. I'm like, just read Gillian Flynn, you'll be fine. I'm like,
yeah.
You know. Yeah, and I was telling my friends the other day, and they're just like, she's okay. I'm like, she is not just okay. All right, Sharp Objects is a fucking masterpiece.
Sharp Objects. I also like Dark Places.
I haven't read Dark Places yet.
I haven't read Gone Girl. I've seen the movie.
Gone Girl's fantastic.
I've read really Sharp Objects and I've read Dark Places, but I haven't gotten. Gone Girl is like so much bigger than those two.
Yeah, I got really triggered the other day when one of my friends was like, "Oh, it's not that good. It's too expository." I'm like, "Fuck you!
No,
that book
wrong.
is a masterpiece."
Gillian Flynn is a great writer. My God.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh man, I would shake her hand. Like I literally would fucking shake her hand if I met her.
One book, kind of like after that era, like once Gillian Flynn became really popular, like there were all these like female thriller writers, right? One book I actually really like from that, I can't remember her name, but it's The Girl on the Train.
Oh, I thought that was just like, that's funny you mentioned that. I read this, I'm like, I could just fucking read Gillian Flynn and get the same fucking experience, but better. Like, come on.
I thought it was well done in like how.
No, it was fun.
Unreliable
like,
she
I
was.
enjoyed myself reading it. It was just like I would fucking go read Sharp Objects.
Oh
you know,
no,
I like noir. All right.
And
she does noir very well. So there you go.
Most definitely. It's not nearly anywhere near as good as Gillian Flynn's work, but I liked it.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Gillian. I think it's fun. You know, it's fun. It's a fun book. Like the reveal at the end, I thought was pretty fun. Like I was like, okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, I spaced out for a second.
That was when that's when I learned what gaslighting actually was. I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Oh, that's what that is. That's what that feels like. Interesting.
It was funny. I saw the film and fucking Lisa Kudrow shows up and she's like, "Oh, you were fine." I'm like, "What is this?"
I never watched the movie, so I wasn't sure it would translate as well because so much of the book is just her in her own head, you know.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's no, but I've wanted to read The Boatman's Daughter for a while.
And you should.
I just haven't gotten around to it yet because
and you're gonna read it, and then we're gonna get on this call again, and we're gonna talk about it.
I'll get you on whenever I talk about it.
Yeah, you're gonna get me on for episode 69, and we're gonna talk about The Boatman's Daughter.
Oh yeah, or you know, but yeah, no, yeah, I hope it's good because man, that would, you know, if I was like, man, this is gonna be great, and I read it, and
I swear to God, if you get in that book, and you're like, I don't like this book, I will fly to Oklahoma.
So, I am going to read What Moves the Dead in March, even though I like to save a lot of my horror reading for October, and I just fucking gorge on any horror content I can. So is it good? Like, is it?
Yeah,
I've
I
heard
think
it's
it's
very
really good.
fungal.
It is very fungal. I think it's really good. Have you read T. Kingfisher before?
No, this is my first one.
I think it's a good one to start on because I I like T. Kingfisher. Of everything I've read, I like What Moves the Dead the most. She's a very good atmospheric writer. It is not fast paced, but it's only 120 pages or something like that. So,
Yeah, no,
uh,
yeah, I'm a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe, so I'm like, I'm gonna read this
I
as
think
soon
you'll
as
enjoy it
possible.
then. So, because I think it, yeah, I mean, I like it.
Though, I mean,
It's Usher with mushrooms.
with
So,
with um with though with retellings, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, sometimes it can be pretty good if it's like the Ballad of Black Tom, and then sometimes it's not so good. You know, I can't think of a retelling that was terrible at the moment, but there have
yeah,
been
but
some that really triggered me.
triggered me so much I repressed my memory of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's very good. Um, that's really all I have to say about it until you read it and then we talk about it a little bit. So, it tries to be humorous at some points. I would say that does not always land, but it does work sometimes.
have you
So,
have you read China Mieville?
uh,
Oh, I was about to say, his Bazlag series. Well, at least the first two novels, fantastic fantasy. Also, I was looking at Jade City as a masterclass in world building. Well, hold on a second. Fucking Perdido Street Station. I'd say that book is a fucking powerhouse of world building. Like,
okay. Yeah, I've been meaning to read Mieville. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
though I might read Jade City to see how it compares.
I really like Jade City a lot. I might have tried to clickbait that a little bit, but I really think the first chapter, especially of Jade City, does a very good job of setting up thematically uh, what the book is about, and also giving you like magic world building without being fucking expository about it. So that's actually the whole point of the video is where I'm like, look at how much she tells you about the system without fucking info dumping you.
um, yeah, I actually just read Kindred recently with my friend Darko, and
Hmm.
that
Yeah, I
was
watched his review on it.
that 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 was funny story about that. So he's like, "Hey man, just recorded a review," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, I was gonna put up our chat about it, but you know, that's fine. Put it, or he doesn't need my permission. He's go ahead." I'm like, "I'll watch it. We'll have a good time." That video freaking blows up the next day when I upload our conversation. I was like,
Oh
that
no.
fucking guy.
Now you son of a.
He's like, "You son of a bitch." It's. You ever watch that Rick and Morty episode where it's just like they're just poking fun at heist movies?
Which season is that? I stopped around season 4, so
I think that was season 4
yeah, because
actually.
I vaguely remember. Oh yeah, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
That's it.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god. That I've got it's yeah. No, it was not. I just love your thumbnail for your Secret Santa video. Like, you look like you're holding in a fart.
I put an obscene amount of time into that.
you know,
uh,
it's interesting. Like, a lot of my videos that do really well are like the collab videos. Like the one I did, the basically where I decided to get in on the what's your favorite book, and I get just a bunch of people's perspective. I actually want to do that again at some point. It was fun to do, but like, man, that took a lot of time. Like,
yeah.
oh my god.
That Christmas video is the most popular on my channel. Obviously, because I was just piggybacking off of my more successful booktube friends. Uh, but yeah, it was an obscene amount of work organizing it, getting everyone to record, and then editing it, and
Oh my
then
god, yeah, I had to go like, "Hey, so when are you doing that thing? I don't want to be like an asshole here." And they're like, "Oh, I'll get it to you." And it's just like, I gave them a time frame. I'm like, "Okay, just give it in by this time, and I'll put it up." And they're like, "Okay."
Granted, I was more of the asshole in that situation because I pitched the idea to them in like July. I was like, we should do a Secret Santa thing this year. And they're like, oh, that would be so fun. And then I didn't follow through to it until like the last week of November. I was like, okay, guys, here's the form for the Secret Santa thing.
Wait, so which book did you get?
I got
It's been a hot
the
second since I saw that video. If you can't
The
tell,
Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee.
you know what I thought was hilarious? I did a review of Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a nonfiction book. Fucking crickets, man. Like, nobody watched that video. And I was kind of like, man, shit.
Dang. Yeah, because that came out like, you put that out right around the time the movie came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
You think that'd be the time that it would kind of blow up?
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a great book, though. Yeah, it is. You know, one of the horror books I do want to read, I'm looking at it right now. It's the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, because I've wanted to try Grady Hendrix for a while.
I'm going to recommend not starting with that one.
Oh, which one should I start with then?
I'd recommend starting with Horror Store.
Isn't that his weird one?
Yeah, it's...
Isn't that like the one that's like an encyclopedia or some shit?
It's an IKEA catalog. I think... Well, I mean, you read whatever you like. I personally have not really liked anything I've read of Grady Hendrix outside of that book. Because I think he does weird very well. And nostalgia very not well.
You know, I'm hesitant to read, and people can make fun of me of this in the comments, but I haven't read My Best Friend's Exorcism because, like you, I was raised a Christian, and they fucking just hammer it into your head about how demons are fucking scary. So I don't like anything to do with demonic shit. Like, not really, because like I just don't like that shit anyway.
Oh, like, I think you and I had the polar opposite because like my wife was also raised very religious, so she's like, yeah, I really don't like demon stuff or like anything like that. Like I still don't.
You're the edgelord.
I'm all in on the Satanism, man.
You're the edgelord who likes that stuff. I hear you.
Dude, the more vile and fucking pagan it is, the more I'm into it.
Like, have you another thing? I want to read The Ritual because I saw the movie a few years ago.
I'm reading it right now, and it is fucking my jam, dude. Let me tell you.
I heard it's very. I heard Loki's in it. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I gotta read this book as soon as possible.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through it right now. It is fucking wild, dude.
Oh, I got it.
My large critique of it is, and this is my critique for most horror books, it really takes too long to get going.
That's a thing about horror. Like, a lot of it is really effective in the short form.
Because like this is about 400 pages long, and that's pretty long for me for horror.
Oh man, I'm kind of dreading what you think of the Stephen King books because I mean he goes on for a bit, but he's really good. So
I would say I'm hit and miss on Stephen King.
Yeah, that's fine. That's acceptable. I know a lot. I don't blame you there.
There are some I love. I love Misery.
It's probably his tightest one, so yeah, I can see that.
Love Pet Sematary.
Yeah, that's a great one. Probably his best straight horror novel.
Yeah, but I'd say so. Don't like The Shining. Like Dr. Sleep. Really like Dr. Sleep.
Wow. That's interesting.
Well, okay. So here's my reason for that, because this is going to get into why I don't like King, and then when I do very much like King. Again, I'm a big themes guy. I want the book to be about something. And King, for whatever fucking reason, is like adamant that he is not going to do that.
He does it. Like, now, I will say, now he might go on his little song and dance on his book tours and be like, I don't write with themes in mind. There's themes in his work.
I mean, there are themes. My problem is I don't feel like he leans into them enough most of the time.
You're a very fanatic reader. I hear you.
But that's why I like Pet Sematary. And that's why I like Dr. Sleep over The Shining, because I feel like The Shining's theme is very muddled and not really there. Mm-hmm. But Dr. Sleep is very clear what it is about. And despite some of that book's more flagrant flaws, like the fucking dream sequence, Where the vampire lady goes into the girl's dream, she turns into fucking Cersei from, or Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
Wait, what are you talking about? What book is this? Hold
This
on.
is Doctor Sleep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? I don't remember that part.
So despite some of the book's more apparent flaws, I really like that it actually delivers on the themes, and that's why my most favorite book by Stephen King is Revival.
I actually have Revival over there. I've wanted to read it for a while.
I fucking love Revival. The one problem with that book is it is not scary enough. But
I've heard that's one of his darkest books. Like, what the hell, man?
Thematically, I'd say it's dark. I wouldn't really call it a horror novel. You should read that as like a dark literary book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With some Lovecraftian stuff at the end. But if he pushed that Lovecraftian stuff and gone way grosser, way more like horrific at the end,
gone more Palahniac. I hear you.
It would be perfect. It would be perfect. But so much of the book otherwise is just amazing. I fucking love Revival.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Did you ever read Horns from oh yeah, not on your god damn. That tells you how familiar I am with your channel.
No, you're okay. Yeah, I read
Horns. Did you mention it in one of your videos?
Yeah, I plan on rereading it this year.
That was I thought that was a fantastic book.
Yeah, it's my favorite Joe Hill book.
I haven't read any of his other books, but that one was freaking great.
Like, Heart-Shaped Box is great because it's super fast paced. Like, it's still a little on the long side. It's almost 400 pages, but man, it just fucking goes, and it's a little relentless. It is wild.
I've heard it's about a kook, so you know.
Yeah, it is. It's an awesome book. It's a fun read. Horns, and is like a very thematic, emotional read. Again, I wouldn't even call Horns a horror novel.
It's more like a dark fantasy novel.
More like a dark fantasy. Yeah, like a dark urban fantasy. Beautiful. The scene.
Also great dark comedy in there.
I know. What's that line? Like right at the beginning, where he's like pissing on. Is it like a statue of Mother Mary?
Oh my god!
And
really going for the sacred and the profane, huh?
Yeah, I know. And it's like with the benign smile, the functionally R word. I was like, incredible line.
So you like blasphemy? I hear you. I must say you were probably like Preacher. It is also it's a comic book series, but it is very depraved and very blasphemous.
I've been wanting to read Preacher for a long time, so it is up there on my list.
No, but it's or Crossed. Crossed is fucked up. Same guy.
But Horns is a beautiful book, and again, thematically, it just comes together so well at the end. The scene, spoilers for Horns, I guess. The scene where he goes back to the treehouse. He's there with his wife and it just goes up in flames. I had goosebumps. I was reading at like 3 a.m. I'm like, this is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's that was a fantastic book though. I mean, my god, it was
And then Nosferatu is still very good, but I don't think I liked it as much as I like Heart-Shaped Box, and I definitely didn't like it as much as I like Horns.
I've heard The Fireman is really bad, so I haven't read.
Yeah, that I haven't read it yet, so I don't know why. Ever since I read Horns, I was like, I think I'm good on Joe Hill. Like I'm gonna end on a high note.
I don't know how you go up from Horns. Yeah, you're like, yeah, boy. No, I freaking love Horns. That's a great book. Oh
Incredible. My god,
absolutely
love that book.
So good. Where's some other horror novels you like?
Some horror novels I like. Man, it's tough because like it is one of those genres where like, I read a lot of it. I either love or hate what I'm reading. There's almost no in between.
What are the ones that have like really tickled your pickle?
I'm also just a fucking idiot, and like anytime anyone asks me, "Hey, like what's something you like?" I cannot remember any book I've ever read in my life.
I like Cabin at the End of the World, but you were kind of like iffy on Paul Trimble.
Yeah, I was kind of iffy on that. Here, let me check my Goodreads. Let me see what I've read in my entire life. And you can edit all this part out, I hope. Red. Oh God, do not do it from that era. Let's go by date red. Uh, oh, I don't really know if you would like this one, but there is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, and aren't those short stories?
It's short, like it's more of like a novella.
Oh, okay.
But it's a series of email correspondences.
Oh.
But like there's some really
I
dark, fucked
really
up
am
stuff
picky
in
with
it.
epistolary novels because like those get really fucking crazy. Or not, they get repetitive unless it's like
Well,
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
yeah, and I think that's what made this one work for me is like it is so short. I read it in one sitting. Oh, one I do recommend. And again, it's just like, what is horror? But Manhunt by Gretchen Falker Martin. If you like dark, fucked up stuff, yeah.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
And that's I don't think prose wise she is the strongest writer, but I do like how absolutely balls to the wall and unapologetically thematic it is.
Have you read Laird Barron?
No. I'm aware of him though.
Okay. I've only read his crime novels, so maybe someday I'll get into his.
Oh yeah, because he has crime and horror, doesn't he?
Um.
Oh, but Manhunt is a gender apocalypse story. A gender apocalypse being it's an apocalypse story where one gender disappears.
Like Why the Last Man.
Yeah, like Why the Last Man. This one's a little interesting though, because it's based on testosterone levels. So
that could be stupid really quickly, but I'm hoping it's not.
I don't think it is. I think it works fairly well. But disease impacts people with a certain amount of testosterone in their body.
You have an interesting reading taste from what I've gathered from this conversation so far.
Yeah, I have a wild reading taste. But when it's a disease where once someone's testosterone levels hit a certain point, they turn into a raping, flesh-eating cannibal zombie monster thing.
So a testosterone zombie. That's interesting.
Yeah, a testosterone zombie. And it's about these two trans women who are trying to survive.
Oh no!
Post that,
so trying not to turn.
Yeah,
their latent masculinity starts coming out. I'm guessing.
And they're existing around a community that is run by TERFs, to put it lightly.
Oh no.
Where they spend way more time trying to hunt out the trans women than they do the actual monster things.
Oh God.
It is incredibly on the nose, but it works for me because like the book is just so angry.
Sounds really bonkers. Is the author transgender?
Yes.
How did I guess that?
How did I know? This is the one. It made the news because it blew up in the Guardian because it references J.K. Rowling dying in a fire.
Oh no!
And the Guardian took this and like ran with it. It's like this book graphically describes the death of
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling, like it's like a torture fantasy about her dying. And, like it's literally just like fucking 2 lines in the book, like of someone hearing that it happened.
Oh my God. That is great. That is great. I gotta check that out. What is that called again?
Manhunt.
I gotta check that out. That sounds great.
Yep. Biggest 2 critiques is like her prose is like it's not bad, but like it does try to get a little purple, and I don't think it works that well.
I don't like her. I like this. I like this cover.
I know the cover is great.
Isn't it? And there's this like balls in there.
And I don't like the way it ends. because it is kind of charactery, so it is kind of like meandery. They're
You
just
know how many
surviving.
books I've read where the ending is just kind of eh?
Yeah,
It's been a lot. I mean, I'll
but
admit, the only good Indians, I was kind of meh on the book or on the ending, but just like the journey to the end was really fucking good. Like I loved it.
I could definitely see that. I think the ending is probably the weakest part of that book, and I think it's a great book. So,
Oh no, I think it's
um,
great. It's just like I love how also why I really enjoyed the book was like my expectation because I thought this was gonna be like a it for like Native Americans, right?
not what
And
it
it
was
was
at all.
not.
Not at all. And it's still, and like that's one of those times where like, it can subvert your expectations and be better. Um, because I went the same thing. I was like, man, this fucking moose ghost is gonna fuck shit up, and not what happened at all. But I think that's what made the book really work for me because it was so interesting to see how like they just kind of destroyed themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Is it guilt? Is it the creature? Is it both? I don't know, but it's
don't
really interesting to
know.
read. Like I had a friend who read it. He's like, "Oh, nothing happened."
Shut up.
I'm like,
Shut
"Fuck
the
you."
fuck up.
No, but
But no, Manhunt's really good. I just don't think it ends all that well. But it's also one of those books where like, how the fuck do you end it? You know? Um,
like, what is it? Doesn't she like make like not? I'm talking about the only good Indians again. Isn't it like she makes up with the fucking like elk monster or whatever or
yeah, and
something?
she like returns the embryo back to the snow. Uh,
The first lines of that book fucks though. Like seriously, like
mm-hmm,
I love that first just Indian gets killed in a bar fight or what was it? Like
mm-hmm,
I'll have to get it
yeah.
out again. I don't want to.
But really, but like that ending, I don't want to get too much into spoilers again, but like that ending of the only good, like when the two friends are fighting and like everything that comes out of that.
Oh.
Oh my
Yeah, that was
god.
great.
um Everyone fucking gets it in that book, and like almost none of them deserved it. If you've been,
Yeah, no, it's a book, man.
yeah, it is a stellar book.
It's a freaking book, man. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta say
that's
about
all
that.
I gotta say. Um, oh golly gee. Okay, so yeah, so I recommend Manhunt if you're into just if you want something like splatterpunk disgusting,
Against the
because like
wall. I hear you. I hear
there
you.
was some absolutely gnarly stuff in there.
I mean,
Um,
I'm like you. I like thematic stuff. It's not just the like fucking id taking over. I mean, don't get me wrong. The id loves the violence, but like I like there to be some at least some meaning to the violence.
mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna get chewed out by my friend Epic Tales because he's like, sometimes violence isn't meaningless, or sometimes violence is meaningless. I'm like, I hear you, but there has to be ideas in there. like,
Yeah, I'm right there
yeah,
with you.
there has to
Uh,
be themes and characters and stuff. Yeah.
oh, if you want Lovecraftian horror, I recommend A Lush and Seething Hell by John Horner Jacobs.
Oh yeah, his book Southern Gods. I've wanted to read that for a while.
Yeah, I haven't read Southern Gods yet, but A Lush and Seething Hell is two novellas. Um, the first one is fine. The second one, My Heart Struck Sorrow, is so beautiful and horrifying. I can't even articulate it.
Really, you don't even have links for your Goodreads. What's the matter with you?
I know, I know. I'm so bad at this fucking booktube thing. Uh, but Election Seething Hell has My Heart Struck Sorrow, which is about a record keeper for the Library of Congress. And they're going to track down this guy who recorded all this music for them from like the South in the 50s. Because they're looking for one specific song that was really popular, and there's like no recordings of it anywhere. And it's like a Lovecraftian haunted song. Uh, one interesting premise, two horrifying, three made me cry.
That could get
Uh,
fucky really fast.
It is oh, it is so good. It is so good.
I'm gonna have to read about that. You may like Laval then. Laval does a similar thing. He's very I wouldn't say he's political, but he's very socially aware, and there's a lot of great stuff in his books.
I like social critiques a lot, so or like meta. I don't know what to call it, but
I am hesitant to get to My Heart Is a Chainsaw because it's I'm not a fan of I mean, I like look, I was mentioning Jason earlier. I watch Jason to have a good time. Like I don't really like those movies, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah, and like, isn't My Heart or My Heart's a Chainsaw? Isn't that really all about like she loves slasher films and she thinks there's a serial killer in her town? She's gonna
Yeah,
find out who it is.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I plan on just binging all three of them when they come out or when the third one comes out. So I haven't gotten to them yet.
But yes,
Stephen Graham Jones, he writes social critique stuff. So, and I'm all about that.
I like The Only Good Indians though a lot. I
I
think
fucking love The Only Good
that was
Indians.
a really surprising book.
I've got two thoughts. One more is another book recommendation, and one I also saw on my Goodreads, and like I gotta fucking complain to someone about this book.
Okay.
One is you should read The Fisherman by John Langan.
I've heard that one's really good. I've actually heard mixed things about it. I've heard like it's a polarizing experience. I've heard.
I broadly like it. I'm gonna say I really like it. Don't quite love it, probably for the polarizing reason, which is the book has two. It's hard to explain. So half the book is this guy is mourning the loss of his wife because they went fishing every fucking year. So he's like, I'm gonna go up here one more time, and then kind of like stumbles into like a Lovecraftian alternate world. And then hard cut to a third of the book being about how that happened in like the 1800s. And then like the last 10% of the book is him coming out of it. So very strange to me, where I was like, almost half the fucking book is not about the main character. But incredible Lovecraftian energy, or not energy, imagery. Oh my god, I love Lovecraft stuff. If you can't tell, or like eldritch horrors.
Yeah, I can tell that.
But no, I think it's a great book. Not in. I'm not quite sure you'll like it, but I think you will. Because like it's got good themes. It's emotional in a good way, and yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a banger of a book.
All right, what was the book you were gonna rant about?
Abominable by Dan Simmons.
Oh no, Dan
Okay.
Simmons.
Listen, Dan Simmons, I struggle with because he wrote The Terror. I fucking love The Terror.
I want to read that.
It is
I'm
incredible.
actually hoping to read Hyperion this year.
So. Yeah, I want to get to Hyperion too. I'm struggling because like the more I learn about Dan Simmons, the person, and the more I read some of his other stuff, the more I'm like, what the fuck?
That's a pretty common response to Dan Simmons.
Especially considering The Terror is such a fucking flagrant metaphor for climate change. I can't even stand it.
In a good way or a bad way?
No, in a good way. I think it's great. I was like, wow, this is a beautiful, intelligent, historical horror that is obviously about climate change and about man fucking up nature. And then 2 years later, after I read this beautiful, soul-changing book to me, I see him go on a Twitter thread about Greta Thunberg. I was like, what the fuck? What is happening? And then I read what's the one? I didn't read it. I started to read it, and then I realized the plot of the book was it's literally the Democrats take over and make a welfare state, and now everyone is drug addicted.
Are you talking about Flashback? I've heard that
Flashback.
One. Flashback.
That's the one.
I've heard that's the one that's terrible.
Horrible. And then I read Abominable.
Oh dear.
Which at first I thought was like, hey, it's going back to the ice themes. It's kind of like The Terror. Maybe it will be good. Britton.
It wasn't good.
So you read it. I was like, okay, it's about this guy. He's planning this hiking expedition. Oh my god, I'm thinking about the book.
Just spill it. It's okay. I mean, don't spoil it, but you just tell me what you think.
Oh, I'm gonna spoil it because you should not read this book. No one should read this book. I'm gonna tell you what happens in this book so you can avoid it. But he's playing this mountain expedition, and from the flap, there's something on Mount Everest. Probably a Yeti. So I'm like, cool, we're getting more of the terror. We're gonna get a monster that's gonna fuck some people up, and you get some more man versus nature themes. I dig it.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
And then the book is long, and over half the book is explaining mountain hiking. First problem. Second problem. It's basically the plot of Uncharted 2.
What?
Where I'm not exaggerating. The Nazis.
The Nazis? Oh no! Not the Nazis.
Dress up as Yetis and scare people off. Wait, we haven't even gotten to the wild part yet.
That's not the wild part.
To dress up as Yetis, to create the myth of Yetis on Mount Everest, to hide the secret that's sitting at the top of Everest, which is fucking pictures of Adolf Hitler molesting children. I read this whole goddamn book.
Oh. What? Oh my god!
I read the whole thing.
I'm about to get a migraine. What is this?
Oh my god!
That's the twist.
Yeah, that's the twist. There are no Yetis. It was the Nazis.
That's so stupid.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's great. I gotta read it now.
What the fuck? What the? And like the worst part is the part I'm mad about is the fact that half the book is about talking about mountain climbing. That's the part that really upsets me.
Oh, oh, that was great. I gotta check this out.
Oh my god.
That's like a Scooby-Doo plot, man. Like, oh my god.
I know. When I said the Nazis, you started laughing. It's like, oh, he's not gonna be able to take this.
Oh.
And I would have gotten away with it too.
That literally sounds like a fucking Scooby-Doo plot. Oh my god, man.
How did an editor let this get published? I'm trying to imagine fucking senile ass Dan Simmons submitting this book.
I wonder what his editor thought when he put that. Oh. Oh god, that's great. Oh, I love that.
Oh wow.
Oh man, that's funny. Abominable? This is what that's called?
Yes.
Oh.
You really should not read it. It is not good.
Oh.
And it's not good because it's mostly explaining mountain hiking.
Oh. Oh man. Oh. My friend Bradley liked no. Well, my friend Matt hates it, so there's a couple of... My friend Tim liked it? Wow, he's a really smart guy. I'm surprised you liked that. Oh. Oh my god. That was crazy.
Yeah. You're telling me.
Oh. Man, that's... Oh. Fucking Hitler.
God damn it, Hitler.
Fucking Hitler. Oh. Oh. Better stop it here before it gets too crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't think we could top that. Oh my god.
How do you top Abominable by Dan Simmons?
In terms of badness. Oh. Oh, that was glorious. Oh. Man. Oh. I might have broken my mic. I apologize for... Oh.
You just went too hard on it.
Oh, man. That was great. Oh. Man.
Yeah, honestly, that just drained me. I'm like, oh, we're totally tapped.
Oh,
All of my frustration about that book just came out.
still fucking.
um, I don't even know how to articulate anything beyond that. It's the fucking Nazis hiding pedo pictures of Adolf Hitler. Why?
Oh,
Jesus.
I love that. I love that. Oh, oh man.
Oh, anyways, I don't recommend that book. I do recommend The Terror, though. The Terror is a great book.
I have heard there's a guy named Hickey in it who is fucking
There
awful.
isn't. Yeah, he's a real fucking dirtbag.
Oh, well, we've been going on for a while. And
Yeah, we've been on for a hot second. Like,
as much as I have enjoyed this conversation, I have enjoyed it thoroughly. If our just, oh man, you almost hospitalized me there with that abominable story. But oh man, this was great though. We got to do this again at some point.
oh, most definitely, most definitely.
If you want to share your social media before we leave here,
Oh yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
Calebrity. I'm on YouTube mostly. You can find me at, I think my tag or my tag name is Calebrity Writer. But yeah, I do booktube stuff. I hang out at Vibe. You can also check out the Discord I'm in with a bunch of other people. An unexpected party link is in my YouTube description. And yeah, it was great getting on here.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it, man. I was kind of. You seem like the type who like goes on for a while and then you like hibernate. So I'm glad we got this together.
Yeah. I'm very much like, I'm gonna be really intense about this for like 2 months and then not be seen for 3. So.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Britain's Hangout Hour. Might be the wildest one yet. People.
Good.
This turn into like Joe Rogan. Oh my god. Oh. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, and others, we're not sexist on this show, or
No.
homophobic.